Welcome to Psychology Today. This is a show about bicycling in general and specifically about bicycle safety. I'm Ann Morrow, I'm your host. I want to thank our crew in the control booth who is helping us put on our show this evening, without whom we would not be here. So big thanks to them, and thank you to Northwest Bicycle Safety Council and Bruce Buffington, who produced the show. Our first segment will be John Rasmussen, who's here from Renovo Bicycles. And Renovo bicycles are, as you can see in the background here, they're made out of wood. And if that really gets you scratching your head and wondering all about a wooden bike, well, stay tuned and you'll learn a lot about them and probably want to own one. Then it's time to talk about the upcoming Pedal Nations Bicycle Show, which is in March 23rd and 24th. We'll talk about that in our second segment, and we've got Lois and Will Vanlue. They're here from BTA, Bicycle Transportation Alliance, and they're going to be at the bike show, and they're going to tell us a little bit about what BTA does in our community and what they're going to be doing at the bike show, and we'll just talk about some of the things that you might see if you go to the Pedal Nations Bike Show. So I hope that you're all back on your bikes after kind of a winter respite here, and that we've had a few nice days, and I hope that you're enjoying cycling again. Let's get started. I've got John Rasmussen here from Renovo Bikes. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's great. I'm so glad that you're here. I've really wanted to have our viewers learn about Renovo bicycles. So why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
I have been working for Renovo for about 2 years in June. I came on from the commercial cabinet business with some woodworking skills, but had always kept and maintained my own little stable of bikes. When the job came up to opportunity to work for Renovo on kind of helping them achieve a more production-oriented kind of level, working from boutique to production, I started talking to Ken Wheeler, the owner, and we got into started scheming, and it seemed like a natural fit. So he picked me up, and we started working from there.
Great. I'm sure your past experiences helped, as we can see that these custom designed bicycles are just like works of art. Now, are you a cyclist yourself? You talked about a fleet of bikes.
Yeah, it's always been a commuter thing for me. At this point, Renovo is 2 blocks from my house, so I have to readjust and figure out what type of bicyclist I am at this point.
Yeah.
Because without the commuting, I have more time to do it for recreation.
Yeah. Well, you'll have to come out and join us on some rides.
Of course.
And so, and you explained how you came to work for Renovo, and this is a Portland product, is that correct?
It is. We have 100% of our production is done here in Portland. We do have a gallery in Sausalito that's purely a gallery showroom, and we do have a showroom here in Portland also, but 100% of the production is done in Portland.
That is really cool. So briefly describe a Renovo bicycle for us. We've got some here, and they're showing some on the screen for us.
It is, to our knowledge, because it's very difficult to do, the only tubular monocoque hardwood frame on the market. It's basically formed in 2 halves, bonded down the center. At that point, it's considered one piece because the bond is actually stronger than the substrate around it. We consider that a tubular monocoque frame. The construction is intense. It's not an easy process. The development of the process and the engineering into it was a very intense and thought-out process. In the end, you end up with a bike that is a no apologies wooden bike. It performs like the other materials. You can do everything you can with the other materials with this bike, and we expect it to do everything. If we can't get it to do that, we're not going to do it. We won't be saying it's good for a wood bike. We'll say, it's a good bike, period. So it's a no apologies approach to wooden bicycle making that we take.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Now, and forgive my kind of ignorance, but you do this, you lay this out on a computer, and then the computer tells the machine how to cut this stuff out. Is that right?
Exactly. In order to actually take it to some type of production level where you're doing multiples of these per week, you have to have the aid of a machine. It's really difficult to try to imagine doing this with fixtures and handwork. Basically, you lay it out, you apply tooling to the layouts that you have, which is a basic silhouette of the bike, apply the tooling, run the tooling, and at that rate, we're able to do, by my calculations, 500 to 600 frames a year with a single shift running.
With what you have
Yeah,
now.
with what we have now. So we have plenty of room for expansion there. So that's kind of the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So theoretically, could a master woodworker build a bike with, shop equipment, the router, the
Yeah, but
whatever?
again, I think it would be such a long process.
Uh-huh.
You would maybe be able to do one, you know.
Yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
we can do multiples. Not to take anything away from the handwork, the majority of the material is removed by the machine. It takes really skilled woodworkers with great hands, great eye for design in order to pull the final shape out of the bike.
Uh-huh.
They come off the machine, the majority of the material is gone, but there's still a lot of work to be done to get the smooth, nice, round radii and everything else that kind of blends everything together.
Yeah, yeah, and you really see that. I mean, wow, it's like furniture. So you talked about you bond these two halves together to make a whole.
Hmm.
What do you use to bond them that is so very strong?
It's epoxy. It actually it bonds wood to wood super well. We found an epoxy that bonds wood to metal extremely well, which is normally a hard process to marry different materials to each other. We have found a product that works incredible. So it's basically once you have that bond done, it will compromise the wood somewhere else in the fiber before it will compromise the adhesive.
Right. And what kind of finish do you put on them?
It's a epoxy finish on the outside, which is multiple layers of epoxy. That's taken down to a final shape, and then it's hit with a linear polyurethane, which is essentially, it's very close to an auto finish.
Oh,
After that, if you opt for the high gloss, then it's a 2500 sand and a hand polish to get the constantly wet retread into it effect.
yeah, okay. And so the one behind us is pretty high gloss, I would
Yeah,
say.
that's what we call our piano finish, which I like to call better than
Finish.
piano finish because
Yeah.
it really has a nicer effect than most of the instruments you'll see with that high gloss on it.
It is incredible. It's just beautiful. So with this kind of finish, and we live in the Northwest, are they waterproof?
They are very much waterproof. We have regular commuters from BC, Seattle, Portland, very rainy areas, and they're 20-mile, 25-mile a day commuters, and the bikes hold up great in the weather.
And you just maintain them as you would any bike?
As you would, like I said, it's pretty much like a auto finish. So as you would maintain an auto finish, essentially. And you think about the marine application of wood, the aviation application of wood, and those are places where weatherization and durability and longevity are very important. So this is essentially a slightly more innocent, boiled down version of some of those same techniques, using that on a bike. Considering you would build an airplane, put someone thousands of feet in the air, build a boat, put them thousands of miles out at sea, this is a fairly innocent application of the same use of the material.
Yeah. Well, thinking about your cabinet background, you kind of had to, I'd say that was your learning curve, is all these finishes in the outdoors and the toughness as compared to, although kitchen cabinets have to be pretty tough, but still nothing like this.
Yeah, and I will attribute a lot of that to our master finisher, Greg Hardman. He's had to develop a lot of these on his own, looking at other applications like kayaking, old wooden skis, things where you would have the same kind of torsion on the material and weatherization at the same time. So you have to have that durability mixed with weatherization, So I give him full credit for developing that process.
Well, it sounds like he's on the right track.
Yeah.
Now, what about weight? Are these bikes heavy or?
They're slightly heavier than carbon. We keep up with steel and aluminum. Carbon, we give up about 1.5 pounds on an average frame, depending on the frame size and the wood you select.
Sure.
We find that, the benefit of wood is that it's cellular, it's not crystalline. Those tiny cells are tiny shock absorbers. You have a really nice, smooth ride. It takes high-frequency shock away, and that equates to less fatigue over a longer ride. We have people that have gone from carbon to our bikes and laid down some of their best time trial times because they are feeling less fatigue at the end of their ride.
Oh, that's interesting.
So yeah, we find that the frame is also a very innocent place to hide weight. You don't want centrifugal weight. You don't want it in wheels. You don't want it in pedals. You don't want it in cranks. You don't want it in moving parts. It's spread out throughout a part that's it's a fairly innocent place to hide weight on a bike.
Good point. And what about strength? Do they break?
We do. We have baseline tests where we will take a Cervelo, we'll take a specialized rock hopper or something like that. We'll put it on our testing bed, and we'll expect the wood to do the same or better as the other materials do.
And it seems to me, we had somebody from Renovo at Portland Wheelman, and occasionally, just like any other bike, things break. But you can repair them. It's not like you dump the whole bike.
We can. With a prettier version of what a carbon repair is, we can do a seamless repair using the same techniques that we used to build the frame originally.
So what kinds of woods do you typically use for these bikes?
We have a good cross-section here. Running the customs, we'll run Wenge, Paduke, curly maple. We use Babinga, Jatoba, some of the more exotic tropical woods. And then we can be very domestic, that is hickory and walnut with understated badging. It's just a really clean American harvested Appalachian woods, maintained, regulated, and some people like to opt for that, knowing that it's 100% American, to have the American materials, the frame assembled and built in America. That's a big selling point for a lot of folks. So a lot of people actually opt for our Appalachian series.
Oh, I see. Okay. And you talked about the ride, like this one is a mountain bike, and just like any other mountain bike, huh?
Essentially, yes. You still get some of the shock absorption benefits from the wood, especially working in the rear triangle. And, outside of that, it rides just like any other bike you'll ride. The one thing is, when you take this out of the city and you put it out into the forest, there is something nice and symbiotic feeling about that.
There would be.
Of course, the trees around you are probably getting a little nervous and probably not as into it as you are. But there is something nice about being out in the forest and riding these around.
And so if I wanted a Renovo, I come in and I order what I want. What is the process of getting a bike from Renovo?
We ask you, what do you want it to look like? What type of riding are you doing? What do you want it to look like? And then we look at your body type, and right from there we start deducing what woods are going to work for your bike. We have a testing process where we take every plank into the shop, do a simple deflection test on it. That gives us we have a baseline, a super stiff board that's our baseline. We expect things to test around that range. Then we can pick and choose, and then we test every frame. We have all those noted for every frame. We have a database built so we can see what boards, how they react after they've been tested on a full frame. And then also user feedback, talking to our customers, saying, did it perform the way you wanted? Was it stiff enough? Was it too stiff? Because our plan is really, with that process, is to take the woods that are going to best benefit your riding and your style. Not everybody needs carbon stiff. Not everybody, and every bit that you can back off of that total carbon stiffness, you get a better ride quality. So we want to give you all the power to the ground that you need, but if you're on a 48 centimeter and you're 5 feet tall and you're a commuter, you don't need carbon stiff. You're going to get more benefits from the wood if we can take it as stiff as it needs to be and then stop.
So this is really custom.
We custom tailor the ride. We can't custom tailor the sizing right now. It's too much work to go through and redesign an entire bike every time we do one.
Yeah.
That would take someone dedicated, full time to just doing custom sizing.
Yeah.
And we're not ready to go that route yet. But we custom tailor the ride quality to what you're going to be using it for.
And what about the components and things?
We do component packages. We do about probably 60-40 of full builds to frame onlys. The frame only is when someone has a preferred builder, or they have a bike shop that they're really faithful to, or they're a tinkerer themselves.
Yeah.
And they don't mind taking the time to go out and collect all the components and assemble the bike. They want to do that. I like to tell people, if you're not a tinkerer, if you're not into that, your time is worth money. Let us do it. We're really good at it. We'll get you quotes. We'll describe everything. We'll make sure it's exactly what you want, what you need for your riding, and you won't have to go out, because in the end you can get a bunch of stuff for a great price on Craigslist, eBay, and you're going to pay full retail. We offer a discount off of the MSRP. And that usually equates to where you'd probably land. And again, your time is worth money.
Yeah.
You have to account for that.
Yeah.
let us do all the legwork. Let us all do all the hard stuff. We'll deliver your bike. You know.
Now this one has a leather saddle on
Yep.
it. But again, I mean, even your bike stands are pretty awesome.
Yeah, those just went through a redesign and will be ready to produce this month. So we'll have those back on our website and up for sale.
Oh, really?
Yes, and we have a wall hook now also that we developed. You can only hear people so many times say, "I just want to hang this on my wall and stare at it all day."
Yeah.
We're like, wait a second, we need to provide them with the means to do that. So we give them a stand that they can put in their office, their living room. We also have a wall hook that you can mount on the wall and hang your bike up when you get done riding.
Because you're right. I mean, my husband and I, when we get new bikes, we bring them in the house.
You want to stare at them
Yeah,
and walk at them.
you want to stare at them.
So yeah, biking's emotional. You want them around.
This bike, yeah, would continue to be something that you'd want to stare at. It's just
Exactly.
incredible. So who is your target market?
It's really been all over the place. There are people that scrimp and save every dime they have, and they have multiple Renovos. There are the people, when you build them a bike, you call them to talk about what components they want, and their secretary says, he just wants the best. Or something along those lines where so it takes all kinds. We really don't have a super targeted market. What we pick up on a lot is people that are in the lumber business, people that are architects, and you find in any group of folks like that, there are going to be some bicyclists. So we're trying to catch that market that is where those two cross, where you have someone who's into woodworking, into design, into classic materials, but they also have some interest in biking, and then they can't help themselves. They have to have one.
So you and I talked about this before the show. So kind of along that line, are these just a fad then?
A fad? I wouldn't say a fad. Really going into it, we've offered a 10-year warranty on them. We expect them to be around. We expect to be around. We're getting our share of the market right now. We expect to take more of the market and start going with the big boys, the carbon builders and the titanium builders, the people that are giant, specialized people like that. Maybe not get the product line top to bottom that they have, but we want to have that place in the market.
And as you had mentioned before the show, bicycles have been made out of wood.
Yes.
Forever.
Yeah, I mean it's a classic material. It went away for a while, but we feel like the way we've put these together, it's back, and it does just as well as the other materials.
I'd like to see one of the first wooden bikes compared to one of yours. It's
Oh, yeah.
probably vastly different.
Actually, you can actually find a list of those on our website.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He has some nice old photos of some of the oldest wooden bikes.
Oh, cool.
Some museums around Europe and things like that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Now, do you have any anecdotal tales from Renovo owners?
Let's see. There's the one I kind of brushed on earlier, where when we were talking about weight, I had a guy email me, one of our customers email me. He said, I finally got my Renovo built up. With the component package I put on, it's 3 pounds heavier than my carbon fiber. So I started giving him the explanation of, you'll find that, that the material actually reduces fatigue, and you'll find that you won't even notice that, and that it's an innocent place to hide weight in a bike. His response to that was, I know what you're talking about. I just laid down my first time trial and did my best time ever first time out on his Renovo. So that was nice to hear, because you never know how someone's going to take that explanation.
Yeah.
But to have him come back with proof positive, yeah, I just laid down my best time trial, first try out of the gate on his Renovo, carrying the extra weight.
You're right, because sometimes we get a little obsessed about ounces.
We don't like those folks to walk into our shop and say, how much does it weigh? We tell them, and they go, and they turn around and they walk out, and they just, they don't understand that there's more to it, that ride quality plays into it hugely, that comfort and ride quality are a huge thing when it comes to performance riding even.
And you do, it seems like on your website, you do have people, not just time trials, but competition.
Yeah.
Taking part in competitions.
We had 5 in the race across America this last year, and that's grown from, 1 a couple years ago. We just keep having more and more people as they're seen and they're out there and people are exposed to them. And then we also, in 2010, we had Tim Weinsdorfer. He qualified for the Ironman World Championship in Kona.
Oh.
So we actually managed to produce a bike that was the same weight, same stiffness, actually stiffer in the rear triangle than the carbon. I can't remember exactly what model of carbon he was riding, but so he said, why not? And then the biggest challenge was getting it into the race. You know,
Oh.
having them not pick it apart and say,
Sure.
wait, we don't understand what this is.
Uh-huh.
Can this be in the race? Is it legal?
Yeah.
So, and then also with no real sponsorship going, also that whole end of it too. So. The development of the bike itself, we thought was going to be, it's going to take us 10 tries, we might not get it. Mm-hmm. We built one, it tested, you know, the same weight, and like I said, as stiff in the front triangle, stiffer in the rear triangle, and then the challenge was getting it into the race, and he did well in the bicycling.
Great.
Yeah.
And I was race across America. Boy, the comfort, that would be key.
Yeah,
Not getting
and
beat to a pulp.
it's great for that, and it works double time because it shows the longevity of the bikes. It shows they can take the abuse,
Oh.
it can take the long, it can take the miles.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I hadn't really thought about it that way. Now, other than the sheer beauty and the practicality, is there any other features about Renovo that sell the bike?
You know, it's what got me when I first saw them. It's juxtaposition of high-tech components, high-tech design with the classic material. It just takes a second for your brain to wrap around it.
Yeah.
And in the end, with enough studying and explanation of the thing, it really makes perfect sense. You know, there's no reason why you shouldn't, because it really does. It keeps up and performs with the other materials.
That's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you guys are not going to be at the Portland Bike Show. I know you were there last year.
Mm-hmm.
You're going up to Seattle for the bike show.
We're going up to Seattle. That's because first of all, the Portland is because we haven't nailed down all the things that we want to have done for Portland. So we don't want to go there with the same batch of tricks. We want something new, something bold to bring out. Those things are still in development. So we are going to focus on Seattle being where we do that.
Now, generally, where do you see Renovo going in the next couple of years? Are you tweaking things? And you know, I don't want you to give away your secrets, and you won't. But generally, where do you see yourselves going?
Again, we want to run with the big boys. We want to come up with stock wood choices, stock builds, and start getting into things like dealer pricing and exporting. You know, getting our costs down and getting into stock builds and stock wood pricing to where we can become you go to the bike shop and you buy a Renovo, you know, like you do any other bike.
So you test drive your different bikes, and Renovo is just one of the many that you might test drive, and you see test drive.
We're confident that we'll get our share of the market because of the rag quality and how interesting it is, you know.
And well, I want to thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
And I really appreciate it. I hope that it's been good for our viewers to be able to see these bikes, and because they're kind of rare sightings still. Mm-hmm. And to be able to see these bikes and see how beautiful they are and understand from you, and you've done a very good job of describing, that they're really competitive with other bikes. And so it's really a matter of testing them to see if it's something that's going to work for you, whether you're riding a mountain bike or a road bike or a commuter. They'll go anywhere or do anything. So thank you very much for joining us, John. And I really appreciate your descriptions of things. You really have a good knowledge of the product.
Great, thanks.
Well, we're going to go to a video now of helmets and placing helmets on your head and how to wear a helmet. No matter what kind of bike you have, even if it's a beautiful wooden Renovo bike, you need a helmet on your head to be safe. So we're going to have you watch this video, and I'd like you to really pay attention and then make sure that your helmet fits on your head properly too. Let's go to our video.
Bicycling is one of America's favorite pastimes, yet like everything else, it has its risks. Every year, more children ages 5 to 13 go to hospital emergency rooms for injuries associated with bicycles than with any other sport. Many of these cases involve injuries to the head. Wearing a bicycle helmet can reduce the risk of head injury by an impressive 85%. So go ahead, enjoy the outdoors, but be sure to wear a properly fitted helmet. And remember to adjust it before every ride, or you won't be fully protected. If you will be buying new helmets, be sure from the label that they are CPSC certified. If you're using an older helmet, make sure it is Snell or ANSI approved. And there are even some dual certified helmets that can be used for bicycling and skateboarding. And whether there is a bicycle helmet law in your area or not, it's a smart idea for everyone to wear a helmet. And adults, it sets a good example for the kids. Once you have measured your head and chosen a helmet, adjust the sizing pads or the fitting ring for a comfortable fit without any rocking from side to side. The helmet should sit level on your head and low on the forehead, no more than 1 or 2 finger widths above the eyebrow. Adjust the lengths of the straps so the buckle is centered under the chin. Adjust the slider on both straps to form a V shape under and slightly in front of the ears. Lock the slider if possible. Buckle the chin strap and tighten it until snug. No more than 1 or 2 fingers should fit under the strap. At this point, double check to make sure that the helmet is secure and doesn't rock back and forth. If a big yawn doesn't pull down on your head, refer back to step 5 and tighten the chin strap. And if you just can't get the helmet to fit, try another one. Remember, a helmet can only protect your head if you wear it each time you ride. If you outgrow your helmet or are in a crash, replace it immediately or you won't be protected. With your new helmet properly fitted, you can ride with the confidence that you are getting the best protection possible.
Okay, we're back, and we've got Lois Moss and Will Vanlue here with us from BTA. I want to mention that video. Please make sure that your helmet fits right on your head. Safety is so important, and a helmet can literally save your life or keep your quality of life. So watch the video, and our shows do get archived on our website. So if you missed some points, you can double back and watch it again on our website through our archived shows, and make sure that your helmet is fitting the way it should. I know this time of year, a lot of times we're trying to put caps and things under our helmets to keep our head warm, and that helmet really needs to come down across your forehead and things. So make sure that you've got the right equipment, the right cap, not your fluffiest big stocking cap trying to fit your helmet on top like a little bonnet up there. Okay, so Lois and Will, we've got you here from BTA, and you know, you guys are kind of do similar things that Northwest Bicycle Safety Council does. And BTA is Bicycle Transportation Alliance. We're going to learn a little bit about BTA tonight. Lois, why don't you start by telling us a little bit about what you do and what you do for BTA and a little bit about your riding.
Okay. I'm a fairly new board member. I'm actually fairly new to Portland. I've only been here 2 years. And I started as a member of the BTA before I moved here, probably 4 or 5 years before then, just because it's one of the best and most well-known bicycle advocacy organizations in the country. So I was a member of Texas Bicycle Coalition in Philadelphia, but also the Bicycle Transportation Alliance. And then once I moved here, I got a little bit more involved as a volunteer, a little bit here and there, and I've just joined as the board member.
I see. And it sounds like you're very interested in all this, but what really brought you to the board? What are you hoping to accomplish?
I'm hoping to help with the communication and get the word out a little bit more within Portland. There's a lot of people that I run into who are cyclists that don't really quite know what the BTA does. So that's my little mission, is to try to do that.
Okay, I think I'd kind of agree with that, and that's great. I wish you luck. Will, how about you? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I started out as a BTA member when I moved to Portland. Let's see, it was probably about 4 years ago. And slowly went through the process of becoming a volunteer, and then I've actually started on as the communications manager there now too.
So there are a lot of volunteer opportunities, and maybe we'll have a chance to discuss some of that. Will, are you a cyclist then, and what kind of riding do you enjoy?
I am. I ride very regularly, actually. My wife and I only own one car, and she uses that primarily for work, and so I have my bicycle to get around. And that was the case when we lived out in Tigard, actually, too. So I've had a chance to use a bicycle for transportation on a daily basis, both out in the suburbs and in the city in Portland.
Well, boy, that gives you good experience and empathy for people that are trying to be commuters and things.
Yeah, certainly.
Do you ride recreationally?
I do a little bit. Most of my time, most of my riding is just for transportation, but I do some organized rides, and when the weather's a little bit better, get out with friends a little bit more recreationally. Fewer recreational rides in the winter, but still occasionally one or two.
Now, did I see you on a Bike Friday?
It's actually a Brompton.
Okay,
very similar.
pardon me.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
a
it
folding
folds
bike.
up.
It does.
Okay, and is that your main bike?
It is when I have to take public transportation, or I'm going to take the train or a plane or something like that. It's a lot easier when I'm getting on Max to just fold it up and take it with me like a suitcase instead of having to hang it in one of the bike spots there. So it'll also slide underneath a seat on a bus or in the trunk of a friend's car or something. So it's a really flexible way for getting around.
Nice.
Yeah.
Lois, how about you? Are you a cyclist?
I am, and that's part of the reason I moved to Portland. I lived in Cleveland, and I actually owned bicycle stores in Cleveland, but it became more obvious that if I really wanted to cycle a lot and not work quite so hard, owning a bicycle store is a lot harder than people realize. So we didn't get to ride very much because we were working so much. So I sold the stores. For 5 years, I did a little small nonprofit similar to what the BTA is, and then I decided to move to Portland. So I went feet first. And I think that's a piece of the Portland story that doesn't always get told. There are a lot of people who are moving here because of cycling, and we bring our tax dollars with us when we come. And because so many more jobs you can do at home or on the internet, cities like Portland that support cycling, those people will come here and bring their tax dollars with them.
Yes, and a lot of good skills. Okay. Now, Northwest Bicycle Safety Council is a member of BTA. Organizations can be members of BTA, and so can individuals. Tell us what BTA means and what do they do?
Well, the mission of the Bicycle Transportation Alliance is to create healthy and sustainable communities by making bicycling safe, convenient, and accessible for everyone. So we do that in a few different ways. Three main ways that we do that is through advocacy at the local, state, and federal level. We also have education programs. For instance, we teach in Portland Public Schools bicycle safety education to elementary and middle school students. And we also have encouragement programs like our annual Bike Commute Challenge, where we work with employers around the area to get people biking to work more. And we have a lot, I think we've had about 12,000 people or so participate in the challenge every year. And a lot of those people are first-time bike commuters. So we get a lot of new riders, and we hear back from them too that after that challenge they continue commuting by bike because they find it to be easier and certainly a lot more affordable than driving to work every day.
That's a neat program because a lot of people want to commute, but they just can't quite get there. And that gets them out and doing it and learning.
Definitely.
Good
And
for you.
it's at a time when everybody is, at the end of the summer, a lot of people are biking, and so a lot of times they can find a friend or coworker to bike with. So they don't necessarily have to go out on their own. They can have somebody show them a good route to the office and, where the bike parking is at their office and kind of learn with a friend.
One of the things that I found out as being a board member is that they have just about taught their 50,000th child bicycle safety. And I just think that's that's a huge number. And some of those kids who took the bike safety class 15 years ago are now young adults.
Yes.
And so...
And again, what you do is a lot of what Northwest Bicycle Safety Council does. I know Bruce often says, if you teach a child how to be a safe bicyclist, then when they get in the car, they know a lot of how to be a safe driver. They really do. And I know when I was growing up, I can't remember that my parents told me much, you know, just here's the bike, out you go, and you know, and so to really learn the rules of the road and your right of way and things like that is really important, keeps them safer.
Yeah.
Now, the Northwest Bicycle Safety Council is all about safety. I know you are too. You do these safe routes to school and all that. What all kinds of safety programs do you have going on?
Well, one of the biggest safety programs is the education for students in schools. We cover a lot of things from avoiding hazards in the road to how to properly fit a bike helmet and a number of other things, because those are safety lessons that the children really need to learn even before they're driving. You know, they're walking and biking to school every day, you know, when they're a lot younger than that. So getting that information early on helps them make safe choices then and, you know, as they grow up.
That awareness.
And that's actually a
Absolutely.
volunteer opportunity segue too.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
volunteered at the school and it was so much fun to be with these little kids and see them learn how to ride bicycles. So volunteers can help the BTA do the classes as well.
Yes.
Yeah. The culmination of the bicycle safety education series is a community ride, which is a lot of
Yes.
fun. And getting to ride with school kids in your neighborhood and help them explore their neighborhood by bike is really fulfilling. It's a lot of fun.
It is. I've actually done that. I
Oh,
took a day
great.
off work, my day job, and did that with BTA, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, they had been teaching the children in the school all week long, and then, like you say, you have a bike ride. And that's one thing I know that some of our retirees with Portland Wheelmen take part in that, because they can take some, like you say, go to schools in their neighborhood, they can ride their bikes there, and they really enjoy it. So that's one aspect of volunteering and hands-on and working with those children. And they express that the children like to see the adults, you know, showing how
Right.
you do it.
Yeah.
I hear that one of the favorite things of many of the students is to see their teacher get on a bike during the rides
yeah.
too. So as much as possible, the instructors try to encourage the teacher to get on and ride with the kids, both to set a good example and be a source of entertainment for the children.
Yes, yeah. And I know you guys make it a lot of fun for the kids. It's educational, but it's a lot of fun. So that's one way people can get involved. What are some other opportunities for people to get involved with BTA?
Well, we have our annual Alice Awards that are coming up on May 4th, where we recognize community leaders who have, or organizations who have made a difference for bicycling in Oregon. So we have some nominations that were opened a little while ago. We'll be announcing some winners soon, and tickets are going to go on sale at some point here in the future. But yeah, the auction and award ceremony is on May 4th this year.
And that's a big to-do in the bicycling community. It really is. And you have a silent auction there, and it's a dinner, and it's quite an affair.
Yeah, it's a big event, and we have leaders and politicians from around the area who come to that as well. It's a big night. It's a lot of fun.
And speaking of leaders and politicians, we have Ray Thomas on quite frequently as a guest, who is an attorney in the Portland area, and certainly he represents cyclists who might have been injured due to somebody else's negligence. But more important, doesn't he helps BTA and helps advocate for good laws in the state of Oregon to protect cyclists?
He does. And we also have a great free legal clinic too that people can attend. They happen about once a month, and the schedule is up on our website. People can find out when they're held there, but the clinics take place in our office, and you come and you can talk to Ray or somebody else who's there about all the laws that pertain to bicycling and affect people who are out on the road on a bike. And you get to take home a guide to the rules of the road for reference later on, which is really handy to have.
It is. And, you know, certainly you need to, Bruce Buffington, our producer, our president of North, he's always, you know, you need to know the law.
Yeah.
And so Ray Thomas really helps us know what it is and really helps cyclists. We're very fortunate.
Yeah, one of my first interactions with the Bicycle Transportation Alliance was that legal clinic, because I had started riding as an adult after not having ridden a bicycle for a very long time. And so I learned a lot through that. There are a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of rules of the road that aren't covered in driver's education.
Yes.
And so that legal clinic and the programs that we do for children as well fill in a lot of those gaps.
Yeah. And Lois, how are you? Was there any transition coming into Oregon as far as riding in the metro area and the
One
rules
of the
road?
first times that I went to the office was for a class on how to ride in the winter.
Oh, great.
Because I moved here in January. So that's funny that that was your first interaction with BTA too. So it was a different class, but
Yeah.
still in the office classes.
And let me mention that you know you have a big website, and a lot of the things that we're referencing are accessible on your website, and so people can learn more and learn about these clinics and what you do and volunteer opportunities. You know, certainly donations or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, it's all up there at btaoregon.org.
Okay.
And we have, like you said, all the resources and events and opportunities to volunteer all listed out there. So.
So I think we've covered a lot of the things that BTA does, and you're going to be at the bike show, March 23rd and 24th at the Expo Center. What's BTA going to do at the bike show?
This year, for the first time, BTA is partnering with Pedal Nation to do a bike swap event. And those happen in other parts of the country. I hadn't seen that there was one in the Portland area, and I just came here with a lot of gear that I was thinking I could get rid of. So that's how that idea got started. I was like, there's not one
Kind of
here.
a selfish motivation.
Yeah, there's
here.
not one here. I need to start one. So as a way to help BTA, and also Aaron, who runs, and his wife who run that show, I just thought if we can combine the things together. So the bike swap, there's going to be 3 ways that people can get rid of their stuff that they have in their garage or shed or whatever. They can either buy a table and sell it themselves, or they can consign their inventory, their stuff to us, and we'll sit there the whole weekend, and then they get a piece of it and we get a piece of it, the BTA. Or if they just want to, out of the goodness of their hearts, donate it, they can donate it to the BTA and we'll sell it, and the proceeds go to help classes and things, and then they get a tax deduction. So when you donate things, just like when you donate to Goodwill,
Sure.
we'll give you a blank a receipt, and you can write off whatever you think it's worth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you're a nonprofit. So,
Exactly,
So
yeah.
we can donate to you that way.
Yeah.
Or anyway.
So
And this would be not just your bicycle gear.
car racks, trailers, kids' bikes, anything that you have that's in your garage or shed or under your bed, or things that are just like you don't use anymore and are accumulated. And it'd just be nice to get it out of your house into someone else's hands and pass on some good deals and some gear and things to other people.
So you had mentioned that you have a selfish motivation here. You've got your own little agenda. What kinds of things are you bringing to the
Oh my gosh, I don't even know how much. I have boxes, because I used to own bicycle stores.
Ah, sure.
So I just have boxes and boxes and boxes of things. Who knows? That's another thing that's different from our swap meet, though. We are going to have online inventory listings so people can look ahead of time. Normally swap meets, you just kind of wander in and pile through tables. We're going to do our best to list things ahead of time so that buyers can search the database and see what's there.
And so if you find a really good deal, to get in line early for the,
Right.
The bike swap before, before the things
Yeah.
get sold.
Yeah. Another couple things we're doing differently is the first 2 hours of the swap meet are going to be for BTA members to shop. So that's an incentive
Sure
for
is.
BTA members, and you get your first pick. And since it's up online, you'll be able to see what's there. The last 2 hours of the show, anything that hasn't sold, we're going to call that the gambler's hours. The last 2 hours, everything's 30% off, so it'll be practically free.
Yeah. And again, all this is on your website.
Right.
The specifics about how you can sell things and all that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so people can check, because you
Yeah.
kind of went through
There are a
it.
lot more options than a traditional swap meet,
Yeah.
where you just have tables of stuff and you're piling through it. So there's more options for sellers and there's more options for buyers, but it is all on the Pedal Nation website.
And it's nice that you have the option of not sitting at the table the
Right.
whole
Right.
weekend.
Yeah, yeah,
With
Yeah,
your,
you can go off and enjoy the rest of the bike show with your family and
Right.
everything, and not have to stand by your
Yeah.
bike or whatever it is that you're trying to sell.
and we are looking for volunteers. Anyone who volunteers gets into the show for free. So there's incentives for people to volunteer at the swap, and it should be fun too.
yeah. And So the hours you'll be having your swap meet the hours of the bike show?
Right, which are Saturday 10 till 5
Yeah.
and Sunday 10 till 4.
Yes, yes. Okay, so again, we're talking about the Pedal Nations Bike Show that's coming up on March 23rd and 24th, and it's up at the Expo Center, so you can take the Max or you can ride your bike up there. And BTA will be having a swap meet, and you can get more information on their website. And the hours again are on Saturday from 10 to 5 and on Sunday from 10 to 4. You can go to pdxbicycleshow.com too to get more information about the bike show. And it's a little early yet, but the website is getting filled in with things as time passes, and you've got your information either linked there or on there, I think.
There's a link from the BTA website to the swap meet website as well, and we've already got a few. I think we have at least one bicycle listed, maybe two, and we got some other listings up there as well.
Great.
And we also are able to accept, if someone wants to consign their product to us or donate, we'll be set up on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays in March in the old former Tazo Tea warehouse.
Oh, yeah.
So if people want to drop their items off, they can drop them off, or they can get in touch with me and I can pick them up if it's a donated thing and you want to just make it easy on yourself. I'm happy to come out. We have a couple other volunteers that are happy to pick things up. So if people want to donate, we can make that happen.
Well, good. That's a great idea and a nice addition to the bike show. That'll be a lot of fun, I'm sure.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Well, let's talk about the bike show in general. We kind of went over the details about when and where, and we'll cover that again. You've both been to the bike show, maybe not last year, but the year before, and it's at the Expo Center. And Aaron McBride he kind of is the main guy, and his wife Andrea. And he's not here tonight. They have a new baby,
Right.
so he's doing that. Plus, he's just really busy with the bike show. But I want to talk about how fun it is, and encourage people to go to the bike show, because it really is a great opportunity to learn more about the weirdness of Portland bicycling. It's just all over the place. Let's talk about your experiences at the bike show.
I've been the last 2 years, and the thing that I really found the most flabbergasting to me is that Aaron and Andrea both have other jobs. They aren't full-time show producers, which most shows of that level and that caliber take a full-time show producer. So hats off to them for having the gusto to give back to the community and put that together. So I was surprised with that. But it is just fascinating how much bicycle industry happens in Portland. When I tried to list the exhibitors that I remembered off the top of my head, I gave up because I was like, oh, well, what about that one? So there are so many exhibitors there, and they're all local, well, not all, but a lot of them are local companies.
Yes. And, to me, Aaron and Andrea bring such an energy to the bike show. I've been to lots of bike shows, and they're nice, and you see a lot of things and a lot of good vendors and all that, but boy, they really bring a fun energy to that whole expo center that it's just like a party. It's just a lot of fun to go to. They have a lot of good ideas.
Yeah, and it's family oriented.
Absolutely.
And welcoming. Some
Yes.
bike shows can be a little bit cliquish maybe. But I thought this one was very open and friendly, and they have things there for novices and they have things for experienced cyclists, both.
Yes.
Yeah, and things for people who ride for transportation or mountain biking or road biking. It's really a wide variety of things, which is sort of fun for me to see, because I'm just used to riding around town on kind of an average bicycle most of the time. But to see just the wide range of bicycles and different types of culture and events, and like it's a great place to just spend an afternoon too, because there's more things than just bikes and booths. There's music and there's beer and there's fun stuff for kids to do as well. So
Yes, and we'll get into that. Aaron had sent me a thing about some of the people that are going to be there. I'm going to be there. I'm with Portland Wheelman Touring Club, so our bike club gets a booth there, and we talk about what we do and encourage people to come out and ride and talk about bike rides. And we've got our Pioneer Century, which is June 1st, so we'll talk about that. We're going to have some brochures for Northwest Bicycle Safety Council with Beaverton Banks and Beyond, our big bike ride for Northwest Bicycle Safety Council that's August 24th. And we'll probably have some flyers for the Gorge Ride that's on June 15th. So we talk a lot, it's just a lot of talking to people about what they're doing and what we're doing, and, can we help you reach your goals? So that's some of the other vendors. Like you said, it's family oriented. So Nutcase Helmets has been a guest on our show, and they have the Little Nutty Rider Zone Nutcase Helmets, and the kids can ride around the little park area, and they have the helmets, the Nutcase helmets, and that's a lot of fun. And they have a fashion show. A lot of Oregon handmade bikes, like you're saying, a lot of things made in Oregon. And so at Renovo, although they're not going to be there this year, they were there last year, but other handmade bikes. And even if you're not really looking for a bike, it's really a good opportunity to learn.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
About the different materials that people make bikes out of, and there's a place to test ride the bikes, I think.
Yeah, there's a test track, so you can try out different styles of bicycles that you may not have a chance to ride on your own, that you may not have, and you may learn that a different type of bike than you'd think fits you, a little bit better, or is a little bit more fun. So even if you're not buying a bike at the show, it's an excellent opportunity to learn more about all manner of bicycling.
Yeah, good point. Like even a recumbent or something that you really hadn't thought about, to at least give it a spin and see how it feels.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I expect Metro is there, so you can get maps and
Often,
things,
yeah. And
other-
just good presentations. Metro often gives good presentations too about different things that might, again, broaden your horizons. Bike Friday's going to be there, and I guess they're going to have a door prize. One folding bike will be given away.
Oh, very cool.
And Hopworks Urban Brewery Beer Bike, they'll be there. Marin Bikes, they'll have a door prize too. There's an opportunity to win one of 3 different bike models. And various types of rides, like you're saying, different recreational rides, our club and the different rides that we have. And I know there was some people from Idaho there last year about riding up on some of their trails. So
nice.
And just different rides.
Yeah.
Let's see, and Erin sent me some Brio. They have bike clothing, and all these people have web presence, of course, too, but bike clothing and accessories, they are from Canada, and they're bringing a 40-foot by 30-foot indoor pump track. I don't even know what that is, so attendees can test ride this track during the show.
Oh, that'll be a lot of fun. I might get on there with my folding bike and see how I do on it.
And Exposed Seam, and they're from the East Coast, and they make cuffs like wrist and ankle. I looked on the web, and ankle cuffs that are highly visible, I think reflective. So just a kind of a marketing concept. They're fashionable and reflective. And Timberline Mountain Bike Park, and they're sponsoring the big ramps that have pro mountain bike riders doing backflips and 360-degree tricks during the show on Saturday and Sunday.
I probably won't be doing that on the bike. I'll stay on the smaller pump track, I
Depends
think.
if you get any hopper experience.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, if I go by the beer bike first or second. Yeah.
And Cycle Path, it's a shop that's attending the show for the first time, and they specialize in high-end bikes from Moots, Niner, Yeti, and many more big bike brands. And Sage Cycles, a new bike manufacturer making their debut this year. They specialize in titanium cycles. So all those people will be at the bike show. And I know that I really enjoy going. I know last year they had a lot of jewelry and little things that when you're a cyclist, you kind of want a shirt or maybe a pin or something that says, I'm a bicyclist. And they have cool stuff like that.
Bikesaurus, I think, is the company that usually has a table there that does that.
Okay. I know some of them were talking last year if they couldn't like join forces and kind of make one big table or something. And last year they had somebody with wooden helmets that made wooden bicycle
Oh,
I've
helmets.
seen those, yeah. It would look really nice on one of these
Yeah,
Renovos,
it
certainly.
would.
Yeah.
It would.
Kind of complete the set there.
I would.
And of course the net case helmets and lots of clothes. A lot of times it's a good place to get a fun new jersey.
Definitely.
They have, yeah, and this, well, and he talked about this sombrio. I don't know that they have jerseys exactly, but bike clothing. And just a lot of leather things. I remember a lot of leather accessories for your bike, like a cup holder or different
Handlebar bags, and
Handlebar
which are
bags.
really, really nice. I know there's a few folks in town that make a lot of really
Yes.
great leather accessories.
Yeah.
So, even I think I even saw 2 years ago. I think I saw a leather six-pack holder, so you can
Yeah.
run to the grocery store and hang
fun.
a six-pack from of your beverage of choice from your bike and take that home too.
And
So-
plus the swap meet. People can come in
Yeah.
and shop at the swap meet and see what kind of deals they can pick up.
And who knows what might be there. So there's just all kinds of fun things at the bike show to see, no matter what level of cyclist you are or what kind of bike you're riding, and all of that.
And it'll be spring. It'll be really close to spring.
Yeah.
It's very
End of
possible you
March.
could ride your bike there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very possible it could be a nice day. And let me repeat that it's March 23rd and 24th, and it's at the Expo Center, Pedal Nation's Bike Show. And so it is accessible by Max, or you could ride your bike, March 23rd and 24th. Saturday from 10 to 5, Sunday from 10 to 4. And you can go to Pedal Nation's Bike Show, pdxbicycleshow.com. So I want to thank you, Lois and Will, for joining me from BTA and talking about what you've got going on. And I encourage people to look at your website and see how they can volunteer. There's lots of different opportunities depending on what your time frame is. And I know you always need volunteers because you're very involved in the
Yeah.
Portland community. You really are. You try to
Definitely.
be everywhere.
Yeah, and our members and our volunteers really make all the work that we do possible. So anybody looking to have an impact on making bicycling safer and more accessible should go to btaoregon.org and find out how they can get involved.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Did a good job of telling us about BTA. And I want to thank you all for joining us. And Northwest Bicycle Safety Council does promote riding safely. We had our little helmet video. Always wear your helmet, please. And we're already at work on our Beaverton Banks and Beyond bicycle tour for 2013. We're making plans. Bruce Buffington is already working really hard. We're going to have a great jersey for Beaverton Banks and Beyond. And so go to our website. It's not quite ready yet, but very soon. And it's going to be something that you need to pre-order. It won't be for sale later. It's something you need to pre-order. So keep an eye on our website so that you can jump in and get your jersey ordered so that you'll have one. I can assure you it's something you'll want to wear frequently. Thank you so much for joining us, and please ride safely and know the